Hi students, how are you all? I am Dr. Anurag Agrawal and this is OSN Academy of English, an academy known for UGC NET as well as IAS mains in English literature since 1998. Today I am going to tell you something about the four wheels of English, that is the four wheels of the novel, which I suppose you must have read it but not with the net eccentric angle. And students who are also here live with me or will be listening for this lecture afterwards also for IAS mains, this lecture will also be very important for them because this is very much in their course too. So students, just listen it carefully and you can also note down this net eccentric topic, or you can say the details for the four wheels of the novel. You must have read in your graduation as well as in your post graduation about these four novelists of this age, that is Samuel Richardson, Smollett, Fielding and Sterne, who are known as the four wheels of the novel. So students, apart from this, you have also to know a lot of details about this novel, about the novels which they have written, and the beginning of the novel writing is made with an enthralling and mysterious figure known as Daniel Defoe. And this person, Daniel Defoe, gave us the travelogue novel known as Robinson Crusoe, which is very famous and also a world-renowned novel, Robinson Crusoe, which we used to read or which was prescribed even in the lower classes when we used to study in the convent colleges, schools. And the next development of the novel, and possibly you can say the most important in its entirety, that is in the history of England, came by Samuel Richardson, who became very famous for his epistolary novel Pamela. And this novel Pamela, which is written in a letter style, epistolary का मतलब होता है which is written in a form of letters. इसमें क्या होता है कि in which the plot develops and comes to an end through the medium of letters. Richardson suffered from the appearance of the contemporaries who disliked his work and who took an early opportunity of satirizing. And satirizing whom? He is no other than but Henry Fielding, who is a great satirist, a novelist known for Joseph Andrews, and to ridicule Richardson's Pamela. He contrived this satire by revering the situation in Richardson novel. And the next novel, Tobias Smollett, by Tobias Smollett, was Fielding's contemporary, though we can 100% say that he is not of the equal stature. And students, if he brought to the novel nothing that was new in form, he was able to introduce a new background in accounts of sea in the days of the old navy, in the Roderick Random. You must have heard the name of Roderick Random. And this novel, Roderick Random, portrays the life of a rogue. He is a rogue, but he is a hero also, until his marriage with the loyal, beautiful and incredible girl known as Narcissa, Narcissa. If I talk about the 18th century novelists, the strangest and the most judged is no other than but Laurence Sterne. Laurence Sterne is famous and known for life and opinions of Tristram Shandy. And in this novel, students, the reader has to wait until the third book where the hero is born, and even then his future remains undefined. And after the work of these four masters, these four wheels of the novels, the stream of fiction keeps on broadening continually and till the time when it reaches the flood with which no single intelligence contended. Now suppose students, if I go into the detail of Samuel Richardson, there have been students, few novelists if I talk about Samuel Richardson, few novelists have been able to praise Samuel Richardson so much or in so much extravagance in their days that Richardson is considered to be one of them. And during the 18th century, he was probably more famous, more influential than any other novelist in Europe. If we talk about his three novels, Pamela, and the subtitle is Virtue Rewarded, Clarissa, The History of Young Lady, and the third is The History of Sir Charles Grandison. These were all translated into all the European languages, and they were read by people in every rank of the society. So these novels, every student should know properly. This Pamela, then Virtue Rewarded is the subtitle, Clarissa or The History of Young Lady is the subtitle, or The History of Sir Charles Grandison. Now students, suppose there have been questions where the examiners have asked more about Pamela. So you should also know that the details of Pamela, which is a story of a young, beautiful and intelligent girl who is basically, she is a maid servant who is seduced so skillfully that she is able to convince her wicked master that he ought to reform and marry her. And this novel undoubtedly has inspired several parodies, and one of them is Shamila and the opening chapters of Joseph Andrews. And the inspiration of this first novel came from the series of familiar letters which fellow printers had encouraged him to write on the concerns of everyday life. And these were published separately, और इसका नाम था Letters to and for Particular Friends. इसका ये नाम था, इसको आपको जानना होगा students. Now we come to Clarissa. Clarissa, which was published in 1747-48, somewhere in this time, a year or you can say more before the publication of Tom Jones, is the first novel to have been conceived and planned from the beginning as a unified piece, what Henry James delighted to call fictive art. इसको Henry James ने कहा था fictive art. And this novel tells the tragic story of a heroine whose quest for virtue is continually thwarted by her family and is regarded as the longest novel in English language. एक बार एक क्वेश्चन आया था कि which is considered to be the longest novel in English language, उसमें जो options थे उसमें Clarissa था. So mark this option Clarissa if Clarissa you find in the 4 options. And apart from this, I am only teaching you very net eccentric, the details. There is a date known as 1733. In 1733, students, he had begun printing for the House of Commons, and in 1742 he secured the lucrative post of a printer of its own journals. His circle of friends, which includes many admiring young women known as his honorary daughters, as well as many members of the blue stocking circle. Now this blue stocking word is very important for net purpose, and the students, those who have my study material, उसमें आपको मिलेगा blue stocking, और मैंने अपने online classes में इसका detail भी बताया है blue stocking. So the first 2 volumes of Clarissa, which appeared in 1747, and a further 5 volumes appeared in 1748, and it was an undoubted extraordinary success. But there were complaints about its length and width and its sexual content, and it was not reprinted as often as Pamela. जितनी ज़्यादा copies Pamela की reprint हुई, उतनी ज़्यादा Clarissa की नहीं हुई, just because of its length and its sexual content. इस वजह से ये उतनी बार publish नहीं हो पाई compared to Pamela. So is any questions, students? Good afternoon, good afternoon, dear students, and I hope that these 4 wheels of the novel you will understand much better and continue your studies here. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Now I have come to a different heading, which is a very much needed details for the UGC NET scholars basically, and many times I have been asked that, sir, please tell me some details about this, though you will get all the details in my online classes. Those who have joined may already be getting, and those who will be joining, they will be getting the entirety of everything. But those who have to still join and those who don't know the details, they must know that once you come to literary theory, it is true that it is not a very easy topic to understand, but once you have my classes, I am sure that you will be very, very successful in attaining that level of knowledge which is required for any UGC NET scholar or any teacher who is going for the interview for this level of cadre or exam. So in the literary theory, students, there are many topics which you have to cover, and all these topics are covered in my online classes, like Russian formalism, new criticism, Marxism, structuralism, post-structuralism, postmodernism, feminist criticism, then gay and lesbian criticism, then new historicism, and last but not least, post-colonialism. Suppose if I talk about Russian formalism, those who are in my class, they all know about all the details because they have already taken the classes, I think. And those who have not, they will just understand that here I am just giving you the nutshell to understand that if you are having an understanding of my class, it is an excellent, dedication for you that you may be a part of my system for the next examinations to come. See, Russian formalism क्या है कि ये एक movement था. It was a movement of literary criticism and even interpretation, and which was, you can say it began in the former Soviet Union in the 1920s, which was later suppressed by the Prague Linguistic Circle. And who was the leader? Who was the leading leader, linguistic theoretician? उसका नाम था Roman Jakobson. And apart from Roman Jakobson, the other contributors of this group were Jan Mukarwski, Boris Echenbaum, and Rene Wellick, apart from Viktor Shvetsky. So these are the minor details about this thing. Now I come to the next topic, that is new criticism. New criticism, students, emphasize on close reading, and this close reading or new criticism was very much influenced by Russian formalism, which was a very dominant by Russian formalism, this new criticism. And the major critics involved in this school are I.A. Richards, T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, William Emerson, and T.A. Hume. So these are the critics who are involved in this section. And apart from these into details, once you are in my classes, each and every details will be taught to you, like T.S. Eliot, I.A. Richards, everything. Now, for example, if I take Marxism in my class, you will be told that Marxism was propagated by German philosopher Karl Marx and even Friedrich Engels, who was a German sociologist, and together in their Communist Manifesto, which was put forward in the year 1848. And all too much details will be taught to you in the Marxism chapter or in this topic. After that, in the series, I teach structuralism. And if I talk about structuralism, it began in France in the 1950s and is seen uplifting in the works of an anthropologist. कहाँ पे आपने इसको देखा उठते हुए? In the work of the anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss and forwarded by Ferdinand de Saussure, where he argued that the meaning that are associated with the objects are totally arbitrary. And the movement began in the 1950s with the term structuralism, which was first used in 1928 by Roman Jakobson. And then you will be told all the details about this structuralism, how it happened, how it did not happen, and all the minute details about this entire topic. Now there is two important things, students. एक का नाम है Lang, एक का नाम है Parole. L-A-N-G-U, Lang, and the second is Parole, P-A-R-O-L-E. What are these two terms, students? Lang and Parole. These are two terms which are introduced to the critical theory within Ferdinand de Saussure's synchronic approach to semiotic analysis. And if it departs from the traditional diachronic or historical analysis of language structures, Sageur's model separates language into passive and active elements, that is the language, the lang and the parole. And deriving from the French language meaning tongue, इसका मतलब होता है tongue, lang, L-A-N-G-U-E. It basically refers to a language in its entirety. The rules, the conventions of its use, rules actually which pre-exist with the individual users, and it is this determining element of lang's characteristics that marks its active nature. And students, apart from lang, in contrast is the parole, which is translated from the French la parole, which means speech, which means word, refers to the individual utterance of written or spoken language that passively adhere to the rules of the lang. So in this way, all the entire topics are concerned, like post-structuralism, then I will be teaching you Derrida, Jacques Derrida, then I will be teaching you logocentrism, then I will be teaching you the next post-structuralism, then I will be teaching you modernism and postmodernism, where so many questions are asked. Hyper-reality kya hoti hai? Then you will be taught feminism, and then you will be taught about Simone de Beauvoir in the second sex, and Virginia Woolf. Then there is a name known as Helene Sickus, then Kate Millett, then Juliette Michel. These are the big names which you have to study. Then we have the lesbian and the gay criticism. Many important names are there. Then we have to study cultural materialism, that is known as new historicism. Then Michael Foucault mein you will study pantopic, cultural materialism, and then post-colonialism. If I talk about post-colonialism, students, which is in my, when I teach in my online class, the last heading which I take is that is the post-colonialism. And post-colonialism mein you will find Gayatri Spivak, Homi Bhabha, and Franz Fanon, and many others which I will be teaching in my class. So students, now do you have any questions? And good afternoon all of you. Longest novel, yes. Pavan Bamotra, I have to join for IAS exam preparation. Okay Pavan, I think few days or few weeks back you had messaged me, but you did not contact me, I think. So my number, you can take it. Chandu Rathod, good afternoon students. Sir, blue stocking, please explain. Blue stocking is there. Blue stocking is a group of people who are basically, who were not at all in favor of drinking or gambling or anything. So they used to just have a cup of tea and coffee. Okay, yeah. So students, enjoy this lecture. And today in Lucknow there is a pleasant evening. It is raining, the winds are blowing, and the total atmosphere, the total nature is very, very green, and it is very, soothing. So I hope that in other parts of the country you too must be enjoying, and hope that you like OSN Academy, you like this channel, and those students who really wish to excel, I would again say that time is very precious. Take the classes, join the classes for UPSC mains or UGC net or PGT, and because you must be knowing that just after the lockdown there will be innumerable vacancies coming from all parts of the country, from different examinating sectors. Then again you will become hyper, oh my god, I have not prepared, I want to start. So this is a good time that you can start your class. And good afternoon. Is there any difference between competence and lang? Competence is something different, and lang is a literary term. Inam. Neeraj Bodh. Hello. Hello Neeraj. Competence is different and lang is different. I just explained you what is lang and what is parole. And It is very difficult, Ilham. You just talk to me telephonically and I will explain you better. Good afternoon, Neeraj. Good afternoon, Meenakshi. Pavan Bamutra, you got my number? Okay, fine. If I am not wrong, you contacted me few months back, but I think you have not joined if I am not wrong. So students, here because now I have completed what I had decided to teach you about the basics of the British literature, because British literature में क्या है कि जब मेरी आप ऑनलाइन क्लास ज्वाइन करेंगे तो ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर को मैंने रिवाइज भी कराया है. Those students who have yet to join, I would just say that British literature ko I have revised again in my panel with the question answer round. For example, first I have completed drama, poetry, fiction, non-fiction, etc., etc., etc. So after completing the entire world of British literature from the Anglo-Saxon period to the post-modern, then I have again taken question and answer form. For example, if I talk about Anglo-Saxon Chaucer period, then I have taught you in the question answer form as what is the historical background of Chaucer's period, what are the different perspectives of Chaucer, or what are the important works of Chaucer. Now tell me the details of the works of Parliament of Fowls or the Testament of Cressida, like this. So in the entire century wise, 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, 17th century, you are getting more than 10, 10, 20, 20, 30, 30 questions in question and answer form. In this way, what happening, the students get a lot of nourishment in their basic, in their mind, and they are able to write well, understand well, and go exactly to the pinpoint answering of the online mode, and even they can explain it to their students or to the interview board. Could you please explain me the major literary movements chronologically? Major literary movements chronologically. Chronologically means there are, at the moment you cannot say it in the literary trend accordingly, but yes, there are so many movements. There are innumerable movements which I have written in my study material also. You, Kavya Rawat, if you are preparing for UGC NET, you can just WhatsApp me. I will give you the line by line statement of the literary movements from the initial to the last, because there are many movements, and most of the movements that day also when I was teaching you this thing American literature few days back in the evening, then also I told you some literary movements of America. They were also very important. So if you take, there is one book which the students take, uska naam hai literary terms. There is a book by me apart from my study material which is known as literary terms, and there is a book which is known as works, literary terms and works, which includes the entire world of literature according to the net-centric angle. It will be really helpful, and it will be completing your entire world of UGC net questions according to the things which the professors ask in the examination. Fine, Kavya. And if you are a net aspirant, then just don't base on single one movement or one area of literature. Why? Because approximately 10 to 12 literatures are covered in the class. So that is more important to understand, students. Any more questions regarding your career? You can ask anything about your counseling, about your there was a student yesterday who called from Jaipur. She was very much confused regarding her Ph.D, her doctorate and UGC net. So I explained her approximately 30 to 35 minutes, and then she told me that, sir, I have not taken a good decision because there was no one to guide me, and yes, I have actually spoiled my 3 years of my career, which was very important. So in this way, what happens, students, because of lack of guidance, the students are unable to get that. Amalan, you can just WhatsApp me, I can tell you all the details. Okay. So any more questions, students, regarding your career, regarding your exams, regarding anything which is in your mind, regarding the classes, anything about UPSC mains? UPSC students, the classes are already going on. UGC net students, the new batches are going on, and only you have to save your time, students. Any more questions? Yes, Pooja. That is a special book which the students even purchase from Amazon. But because if you are already in touch with me directly, students, you can directly take from me. Through my WhatsApp, you can communicate and you can order it. The students pan India, they purchase it from the Amazon also. And those who have the study material packet or those who wish after the lockdown period, they may also order for it. But yes, those students who have not joined the classes, it is advisable that before even the study material, the classes are much more important, much important, whether it is IAS, PGT or UGC net. Fine students, so okay, then this means you have no more questions to ask, and I hope that you will all be safe and fine. Till then, have a good day.